Can't hear you. And Sultan, can you turn your microphone on?
Oh, hello.
Can you please mute your microphone?
Our microphone is turned off.
No, it's not. It's the bottom left. It says mute.
Can you hear me now? Do you want to hear me? You'll hear a string of bullshit like you've never heard before. I just make this stuff up from moment to moment. Ian knows it. He puts up with me. Really, I love you all. I'm so glad you came. We have selected each other to be companions. Here's one truth. I hope I eventually can get you to believe. You alone are the beginning and end of the universe. Everything you see around you is yours. The external world, your consciousness, your body, me, all those here. Are subject to not being unless you were there. Your consciousness creates us all. And I shouldn't say creates it because that sounds like an active term. Let's say, but if it were not for your consciousness, I would not exist in your world. All that you have is you. All that you can know is this consciousness, which is you. And you know consciousness by means of the life force in you. Think back to the first moment you can remember in your life. Whether it was at age 2 or 3 or 4. What was the circumstance? Outside of that memory, have you any proof that you were born? Did you experience your own birth? I sure didn't. My first experience was hitting my head on the bottom of the kitchen table because I had grown a couple of inches. That's my first memory. I have no idea how old I was. Hurt like hell. But it came into my mind that I must have grown taller because I had stood up under that kitchen table before without problem. So that I knew I was. And there must have been a time when I was different from what I was at that moment. Otherwise, I wouldn't have hit my head. So the concept of time was born also that same moment. But I have no memory of being born. I have no memory of coming into this world as a baby, as a body. People can show me all kinds of photographs of me as an infant, and I just take their word for it that that's me. So what am I now? On Sunday, I said, if you could, learn how to grasp the entirety of consciousness. And Vijay asked, where do I look? Where do I find that consciousness? But that's all that you ever know is your own consciousness. It's awareness of the world around you. It's awareness of your own thoughts. It's awareness of your emotions. It's awareness of your body internally, breathing, etc. All that you know is consciousness. It's everywhere. But I'm asking you not to do like you usually do, of paying attention to the external world and responding to it. But instead, wonder about the consciousness itself. When you look at the wall in front of you, you ask yourself, what is it between me and that wall that allows me to be aware of the wall? What is the nature of this consciousness? It's obviously invisible. It's not an object itself. It's that by which we know objects. So how did all those objects get out there? Why can't I see them inside of me? If that's true, what you say. And what I say to Vijay is, it's a matter of meditation, of getting to know what your consciousness is like, getting to know the experience of waking up in the morning, of the arrival of consciousness to you. And this takes some doing. It takes constant repetition of trying to remember, be aware of your awakening experience. At first, you won't be able to do it. You'll be fully awake, and then you'll remember you should have tried to be aware of the awakening process, but Now it's too late. But if I give that to you as homework, you'll do it maybe a dozen times or more, of remembering that you should have been trying to be aware of the awakening experience. And maybe on the 13th attempt or the 20th attempt, the memory of trying to be aware of the awakening experience will be there when you first start to awaken. And you can watch the entire unfolding of the awakening process within your existence. You'll find out that the body plays little part in it. Awakening experience. The being in the deep sleep state or a dream state, and how it begins to change internally with the approach of awakening consciousness. How it begins to get more lighted. There's the dim awareness of sound, maybe. And you begin feeling the rising of energy from your gut into your heart. And that continues as the consciousness moves upwards from your belly into your brain. When it finally reaches the brain, you come awake. But how do you come awake? Suddenly there's sight and vision and sound. But there's no thoughts. There's no sense that I am yet, that I have come awake. There's just vision and hearing. And then at a certain point, something descends into your brain. It seems like it comes down from above. And then you realize that you exist as an entity, as a David, as an Edward, as a Vesseline, as an Ian. And even Mark becomes aware of it. This is the beginning of knowing consciousness, waking consciousness. And you have to do this a lot. Not only when awakening, but during quiet times. To sit in your chair, lay in your bed, and just do body scans. Feeling your body from toes to nose, to the top of your head. Do this over and over again till you recognize the experiences that go on inside of your body. You can do this with other things too. You can sit in quietness and do nothing. And if you do nothing well enough, you will feel like you're disappearing. And the world enters you and you become the totality of the world, of your experiences of consciousness. Do this for a long while. Become aware not only of the objects of consciousness, but how consciousness changes. When you first get up in the morning, you feel one way. When you're ready to go to sleep, you feel another way. And during the daytime, you feel other ways. Watch these and become aware of the changes in your consciousness as the day passes, as the moments pass. How sometimes all of consciousness seems brighter and more present. And at other times, not so present. Maybe when you're drifting off to sleep. Then your body is relaxing. Even your consciousness begins to relax and to merge back into nothingness. And you can watch it merging back into emptiness and the disappearance of yourself. Disappearance of that energy you call waking consciousness. And you can play with this anytime you have an hour or two. Spend lying in bed or in your easy chair. And investigate the experiences you have, not only of the objects, the hearing you hear, furniture you feel, but how consciousness itself changes. Sometimes becoming very alert, like you heard a strange sound. At other times becoming very relaxed without being sleepy, and you feel very rested. This is what I mean by exploring consciousness. After a long while, you become more and more aware of consciousness, which is a medium between you and objects. The objects are embedded in that medium of consciousness that surrounds you. You begin to get a feel for consciousness itself by watching its variations, its comings and goings, rather than just taking it for granted that you have consciousness. Instead, investigate the fluctuations in consciousness, the variations between awakening and sleeping and all the other activities of your life. And after a while, you'll be able to feel the totality of consciousness, which is really the totality of you. And it can feel like you've stepped back from consciousness and you watch it all as a ball, a globe, containing everything, including your body. And you can hold it imaginatively in your arms, like an extension of your body almost. And then you can say, I'm really beginning to know what consciousness is like. It has a feel, it has a texture. Not only with the variations that you've been paying attention to find the consciousness apart from the objects of consciousness. But also what it has in itself as its own nature. You can feel its almost physical beingness inside, sometimes like leather, sometimes like felt. But consciousness seems to have a life of its own, and it all emanates from you. You are it. You are consciousness. And then you hear me or Nisargadatta or Robert say, you don't exist. Frank, you don't exist. Your body is illusory. The world too is a hallucination. The only thing that exists is you. You who is not a body and who is not the world. So what am I, given this? I look within. And I look a long time. And all that I see is emptiness. Vast emptiness, the void. And then one day, while looking in the void, I feel something moving. It's love. It's of my own love of being alive. My own consciousness. My own life force. I found this by loving another very deeply, so deeply that all I could feel was love. I became love itself, not a person anymore, but love itself, no object. And that love preceded an experience of the explosion of the life force within me. Love foreshadowed awakening awareness of the life force within me. Before that time, I had felt energies in my body and around my body. I had played with energies, practiced healing with energies. I felt energies in the wall. I could feel electrical wiring remotely in the wall by the energies around the wires. You become more and more sensitive to phenomena when you pay attention to the phenomena rather than your mind. Just watching the moon put you through different phases of being. The full moon is so bright, it's almost terrifying. The light of the moon can terrify you because it's so bright and it illuminates the darkness so well. These are the subtle changes you feel the more you get into meditation on yourself. The effects of the phases of the moon on your body, on your consciousness, on the objects that you can see and feel and hear. You spend long periods doing nothing except immersing in your own consciousness, exploring the depths as well as the heights of your consciousness. But you must know one thing. All that you ever know is your own consciousness. Even a guru you have in your consciousness is only the guru that you know in your consciousness. All that you know or ever will know is in your own consciousness. And you have to know that you don't know your own birth, physical birth, in that consciousness. It's not a memory for you. It's not an experience for you. That you were born is merely hearsay. People tell you that, show you pictures of you when you were 6 months old. But I look at those pictures of me, supposedly, and I don't believe them. That's a story being told to me. It's not a memory, not my own experience. My own experience is that I came into existence long after that alleged birth, when I hit my head on a table. That's the first memory of which I was self-aware and became also aware of time. Nor will I say you be able to witness your death. You'll likely be unconscious when you die. Awareness will leave your body before you die. You will not be aware of the death process. All that you're aware of is consciousness. And consciousness is only there when the body is in a good enough condition to sustain consciousness. All you know is consciousness. It's all there. My existence depends on your consciousness. After satsang, when you no longer see me, I may as well not exist. This is something to be pondered. What is it that you really know for a fact that you haven't learned from your parents or books or school? The only thing you know for sure is that at this moment you exist meaning your consciousness and your life force is functioning. You're sentient. You can see, hear, taste, touch. And right this moment, sitting or lying down, you're aware of my voice. You can be aware of your body touching furniture. You can be aware of the sounds in the background of air conditioning or traffic. Just try to relax. Feel that consciousness more and more. Let your body relax. Let consciousness relax too. Let the life force calm down in you. And just enjoy doing and being nothing. No jobs to do. No errands to perform. No to-do list. No ought list. No should list. The only list is one word, and that's to be. Immersed in your own beingness, your own aliveness, your own awareness of the world and of your own self. And then you can begin practicing introspection on the feeling of being alive, of existing. What is it in you that feels alive? What is it like? How do you know you exist? Do you look in a mirror and say, you exist? Or do you feel your own existence from inside, like an energy in the body, a life force in the body? Or is there like a quivering sense of beingness inside of you when you look deeply, when you feel deeply into yourself? A humming of the knowledge that you are. That hum is your essence. You don't have to do anything. No effort has to be made. It's already there in you, moving by itself, humming by itself, generating feelings by itself. You can begin to feel it like a dynamo in your gut, spinning, humming. That's the life force in you, curled up in your gut, waiting to rise into your heart and into your brain so that you're fully awake to yourself. Now, there are tools that you can use to assist you in attaining this rudimentary exploration of the self. And what that will do unfolds by itself. You don't need an outer guide. Just attend always to yourself. Just be aware of yourself. Be aware of your sense of existence. Some people call it the I am. Nisargadatta called it the I am sensation, the sensation that I am alive. And maybe you will have an explosive experience of realizing that you are alive by seeing the life force in you arise in your gut, go through your heart, through your head, and into outer space as light and power that brings you totally alive, and which you regard as God because its power and light are so unimaginably greater than your own. You can't imagine it being your own. It's got to be God. This is your God realization experience, the experience of the power of the universe inside of yourself, arising from your gut into your head and exploding, filling the universe with light and power. This experience is the true beginning of your spiritual life, when you realize God within. And thereafter, that experience will always be with you, of the life force within you. And as Nisargadatta says, worship that life force, honor it, bow to it. And that life force will aid you in all of your spiritual development. That life force will always be with you, taking you from revelation to revelation, unfolding all the secrets of the universe and of your own self. The nature of consciousness and the nature of the life force, all will be revealed to you. But you have to be persistent. And your only work you can do is to be increasingly aware of yourself by attending to your own consciousness as much as you can during the day, of relaxing into yourself, feeling yourself, what it's like, what your body is like, and what consciousness is like separate from the body. Feel that bubble of consciousness around you. What is it like? Does it have its own life? How is it attached to you and your life force? After a while, you begin able to begin to see that all of the external world arises from you. All of life arises from you. You are the center of the bubble of your own universe. There may be other bubbles out there, but even if you're aware of them, you're aware of them as objects, not bubbles of consciousness. But after you begin to know your own consciousness this way, you'll recognize the consciousness, the life force in others, and worship it there also, as you worship your own life force. Everything you need to know is in you. No books. And the only real effort is just to be aware of yourself, not in a forced way, but in a relaxed way. So it's not effortful. You just turn your attention around from facing outwards to facing inwards, and all will be revealed to you. All will be revealed to you. Jay, can you grab your hard copy of The Ultimate Medicine and go to the last chapter, chapter 11, and read the first 2 pages?
Yeah.
You can use your own book.
Well, mine's different. Well, I'm actually there. Well, let's see. It's not the epilogue, so it would be
Chapter 11.
okay. Chapter 11. Okay, edgy. Understand your own incarnation, Maharaj. At the moment you know that you exist, you are in the seed of the beingness. Although ultimately, even this very beingness is to be transcended. Everything is enfolded in that seed, just like a whole oak tree is contained in an acorn. Similarly, everything is contained in that consciousness. The whole world is there, and that body is also present. I am itself is the world. It contains the entire world. That should be your conviction. Just as in a dream, when you feel that you are awake, but actually you are not, and your world at the time is the dream world. Similarly, this knowingness in the waking state contains this so-called real world. That conviction must come. The truth is that there is no difference between dream consciousness and waking consciousness. Although they appear to be greatly different, all consciousness is one. Your consciousness itself gives rise to this world, which is a unified field, a unicity, but it may be objected. There is such an infinite variety of shapes and colors in that world. How can reality then be said to be not two? Advaita. It is because all these differences exist only in your consciousness as appearances. The source is the same consciousness, but the manifestation exhibits so much variety. The conviction that this world never existed can happen only to the Parabrahman. If this is indeed your conviction, then you are the Parabrahman. This thing aside, you should discover how this news, I am, the knowledge of your existence, appeared and at what moment. Go to the source of it and find out by looking up to others, to so-called experts, and following them or arguing with them, you will not get anywhere. Thus, only you yourself can find out the truth about yourself. You will come with me wherever I go. In saying that, I am referring to the vital force, prana. Make friends with prana, and the prana will help you to know God. The mind is only a witness. Your real friend is the prana, because it does everything. Waking, sleeping, digesting food, all these activities are done by the vital force. Atman is only a witness. So give importance to this vital force and worship it, and you will be able to know God. In order to do any meditation, you should make friendship with the vital force. It is readily available without any effort. Because of the prana, there is mind. And because of the mind, there are the Vedas. So ultimately, the source of this whole scripture is the vital force. That is why I give full homage to the vital force. Without it, what would be your value? Your body would collapse. Only when the vital force is present do you know the world. The world has value and God has value. You can know about God and world only when the vital force is there. Who knows the greatness of this prana? That itself is God. Pranashwar. As to the connection between mind and the vital force, mind is the language of the vital force. When there is no vital force, there is also no mind. The words of prana signify mind. So how could there be mind without vital force? This vital force and the consciousness, that is the knowledge I am, or the beingness and the mind, appear simultaneously and always exist together. Knowledge about the vital force is not generally available. It has not been recorded anywhere. So this information might be new to you. Now that you have listened to me 2 or 3 times, what is its result on you, visitor?
That's enough.
I know that whatever
That's
Maharaj,
enough.
okay.
Frank, do you have any questions?
First, thank you for this today. After the first satsang I had with you on Sunday, I started attending to consciousness as you suggested. And on Monday, Sunday night, and then Monday morning in meditation, an energy after about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, came up from my belly, came up through my body, threw me back. My head went up, arched up, and I felt an explosion of light come out of my heart. And my whole body started shaking uncontrollably for a few minutes. That happened both times. I sent you a letter, which you may or may not have seen yet. Doesn't matter. I just feel like something is deepening in my knowing of what I am, and I can feel the blessing of having been led to these satsangs and your teachings and the teachings that you carry.
What do you make of that experience you had?
It felt like something was being released. It felt like something was being opened up. The first time after that explosion and that I heard a voice inside my mind that said, "This is the self you've been seeking." It was very clear. And I honor that as being what it is. And then, of course, the mind wants to try and make sense of it all, but I've tried to set that aside.
It's wonderful. I can know, I really empathize with the story you told me, wandering in the wilderness for 30 years and not having accomplished knowing yourself and the value of your wandering. But it's beginning to come to fruition. There's a lot more that will come. But you are initiated now. You've entered the world of the spirit. You have beginning to be aware that you're consciousness and not the body. And that awakening of the light and the energy within you was your first clear awareness of the life force within, which you can worship as God, as I do, and to bow before it and let it teach you everything that you need to know for complete release. I welcome you so much to this satsang. I love your presence. Jay, what did you feel when you were reading that?
I have to be honest, I didn't feel a lot. And that's being honest. I mean, I was channeling it. There was something Shakti with the power of the life force was coming through me, but as a vehicle, and in some ways, just as a vessel at that particular moment, I would have to say I feel more now thinking about it, reflecting on it, and what you said today in this satsang. The power of the life force. I just want to channel my meditation deeper. I didn't necessarily follow the exercise the last time, but everything that you said today brought an intensity to this. I need to follow this deeper. I need to do the homework. And I love the takeaway. As I said, maybe that's trite, sounds trite, but it's so much more deeper than that. And Frank's experience is just descending grace abiding bliss, pure beatitude, and such an extraordinary gift and grace. And I love Frank for sharing that, because it's so deep and it's something, I'm trying to find my way through this edgy, I love you, and
I love you too.
I have to go so much deeper, but as I said, this isn't a sprint. This isn't even a marathon. This is like as many laps as it takes. And I stepped into the path years ago when I found you, and I knew whom I had found in the blessing of your gift of God manifest and Shakti exploding through you. I love you. Thank you.
I love you too. Bernadette, anything?
Oh, this is wonderful hearing this today. I think I've had a tendency to look outwards a lot, but I'm more and more persevering, trying to go inwards and do the exercises you're saying. And the thing I try not to do is try to rush things. I want more experiences faster, and the part about relaxing and just allowing it to happen, because I'll get like little bursts of energy and tremble a little bit, but I never get this big thing you're talking about. And I'm just trying to persevere and be happy where I am and let it happen. So that's all.
Eddie?
Yeah, I feel I'm able to feel like the energy like better whenever I come to satsang. And then yeah, I still try to do like the body exercises every day. And then yeah, yeah. And with that like energy that I feel, it always feels like very like good, like it feels very loving. So I enjoy whatever I come into contact with it. So thank you.
Sure. David?
I just want to say, first off, just how profoundly thankful I am that you exist and that you are caring enough to do this. To me, that is mind-boggling and awesome. And I just feel it's an honor to be here. That's one thing I want to just.
It's an honor to have you.
Pranams. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you. Thank you very much. The passage that Jay read, I was following along on PDF, and I found it to be more profound to be looking at the words and hearing them both. And as someone who does quite a bit of Qigong and Kundalini yoga and have had uncounted experiences of whatever you want to call it, energy awakening being that's happening through that, it was very powerful to hear actually the kind of collapsing of the distinction between energy and the Almighty or God with the term Praneshwar, which I had not known before today. And I think that is very deeply meaningful. Well, this is all just a bunch of words, but mainly I have an attitude of thanks.
You're welcome. Frank, can you speak now about what you're going through at this moment?
Well, first, just my deep gratitude to David for being the voice that brought me to your presence. And what's happening is there's just been energy moving through my body that's been taking over. And there's been a little, perhaps saw because the camera's on, a lot of shaking. And it feels like a growing sense of quiet internally and a full bladder.
Great.
And profound gratitude, as if I found what I've been searching for this whole life.
And it
Should I
will
say it's
continue.
finding me. I know that.
This is your true birthday. Or last Sunday was between the two. Put it on your calendar.
I did, actually. I did.
Cassie,
had a beautiful night just with this saying just, gosh, as soon as I start talking about it, I can't. Wow. Just not resisting anything, just being with it. Go with it. Go with it. Go into it. Go into it. That's the words. Go into it. Whatever it was. And when I actually woke up this morning with the alarm, I thought I was awake. But in actual fact, I was still doing that. Go into it while I was asleep. And right now, it's just such, just then was when Frank was speaking. I just felt such love and happiness. Yeah.
Mark,
I wish I could express my state of development, but spiritually, but I did say last time that in my opinion, I'm either fully realized or as fully realized as possible. I still feel that. And also, I'm totally at peace with everything. I'm totally at peace with my state of attainment, with existence, and with everything. And I thank you very much, Edgy.
Ian,
just to be surrounded by these beings, it's just beyond possibilities.
isn't it?
You know? It's just incredible. I have tears in my eyes. I have the inner and the outer seems to be dissolving. When I listened to Nisargadatta, I saw myself trying to hold on to it, trying to hold on to a thought. And what I did get from it was that the mind and the life force are not separate. It's all one, and it's just like the perfect package. But after Jay stopped reading, the energy came, and right now it's just bursting out of my chest. It's just so incredible, and the realization is that it's always there, and it's always just waiting my permission. It's just wow. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. You're just such a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. BJ.
Okay, can you hear me okay? Last Sunday that you and Brenda talked about. Is it clear or it is not?
No.
So it's not clear.
I didn't hear what you were saying. I heard you asking, is it clear? But I don't know what you're talking about. Is what clear?
My voice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that I've been practicing on and off the exercises you and Brenda talked about, just closing eyes and feeling the environment, trying to look at the object that's away from me and trying to feel the whole thing. And probably after a while, after a long time, I think I felt some strong energies today, not up to the mark that I used to feel, but there's anything better than not having at all. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Vesselina.
Yes, Ed.
What?
Great satsang.
Put you to sleep, so it had to be good. Falling asleep in satsang is a good sign. It's a sign you're being taken elsewhere.
Yeah, it felt good.
Well, it's time for me to take my leave and leave it up to you guys to entertain yourselves by chanting or sitting in silence. And I'll begin signing out, and then the program will assign to me 6 or 7 people that I can sign it over to. And I have no choice in the matter. I have to select from that. But anyway, I love you all. I'm glad you came. It's been a wonderful day today. Take care. I'll see you Sunday. Okay.